This is the story of Marcus Atilius Regulus, a Roman general who fought against Carthage in 255 BC, ultimately choosing a cruel, self-inflicted end. During Regulus's time, the Roman Republic had already expanded to encompass the territory of modern-day Italy. It was locked in a fierce struggle with the North African city-state of Carthage for dominance over the Mediterranean. After distinguishing himself in earlier battles, Regulus was given command of a massive fleet to confront the Carthaginians. He led an astonishing 330 ships and an army of 140,000 men. Off the coast of Sicily, he secured a decisive victory against the Carthaginian fleet, which was of comparable size. From there, he carried the war into Carthaginian territory in what is now modern-day Tunisia. In this campaign, he achieved a significant triumph, leading to the surrender of over 200 cities. This allowed him to march to within 15 miles of the Carthaginian capital, causing mass panic. Refugees flooded into the city, triggering a famine that left Carthage in a desperate situation. Regulus fully understood their plight. When Carthage sued for peace, he offered terms so harsh that the Carthaginians concluded continuing the war could not be worse than accepting them. It remains unclear whether Regulus's extreme demands were dictated by Rome or were a product of his own misguided sense of patriotism. Regardless, the Carthaginians chose to resist, and Regulus's fate took an unexpected turn. The arrival of one man would alter the course of events: Xanthippus, a Spartan mercenary. So impressed were the Carthaginians by his tactical expertise that they entrusted him with command of their army. Xanthippus quickly reorganized the demoralized troops, instilling discipline and teaching them advanced military tactics. When Regulus launched an assault on the Carthaginian capital, it ended in a disastrous defeat. Even worse, he was captured by the enemy. The Carthaginians, remembering the harsh treatment they had suffered under Regulus, subjected him to a life of enslavement. Despite his high rank, he was treated with cruelty and disdain, even though the Carthaginians feared Roman retaliation. Their fears proved well-founded. Rome launched a new fleet of 350 ships, successfully landed troops, and inflicted heavy losses on the Carthaginian forces, including the killing of 120 war elephants. With their situation deteriorating once again, the Carthaginians began to treat Regulus more leniently. Eventually, they released him, sending him to Rome with their envoys to negotiate peace. However, before departing, Regulus swore an oath to return to captivity if the negotiations failed. The Carthaginians believed this oath would compel him to advocate for favorable terms on their behalf. But they had misjudged Regulus's unwavering sense of duty. Upon his arrival in Rome, he immediately began sabotaging the negotiations. Refusing to enter the city gates, he declared himself unworthy to enter as a slave of the Carthaginians. When the Senate convened, he had to be ordered to sit among his peers. Once asked for his opinion on the proposed peace terms, he passionately urged the Senate to reject them and instead press for the complete conquest of Carthage. Though the Senate agreed with his advice, they were unwilling to send him back to captivity. Some suggested using a stratagem to release him from his oath, but Regulus rejected this as dishonorable. Instead, he reiterated his intention to return to Carthage to face whatever punishment awaited him. Before departing, he bid a final farewell to his family and friends. When the Carthaginians learned that their peace proposals had been rejected, largely due to Regulus's influence, they were incensed. They resolved to exact vengeance through unimaginable cruelty. Accounts of his death are so horrific that many historians question their authenticity, suspecting Roman propaganda. It is said that Regulus was confined to a dark dungeon where his eyelids were cut off, forcing him then to stare directly into the sun until he went blind. As a final torment, he was placed inside a spiked barrel, unable to sit or sleep and left to die in excruciating agony. When the Roman Senate learned of his suffering, they allowed Marcia, his widow, to exact retribution on prominent Carthaginian prisoners in Rome. Her acts of vengeance were reportedly so brutal that the Senate eventually intervened to put a stop to them. These grim stories from a bygone era leave us both awestruck and horrified. The ideals of honor and the extreme brutality of this ancient world seem almost beyond comprehension today. For a fleeting moment, Tales like this breathe life into a forgotten world, only for it to fade again with the final words. Perhaps it is for the best that such an age remains consigned to the past. This was the story of Marcus Regulus. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to hear more captivating tales like this one.